Chapter 8. Your environment is sabotaging you. You keep trying to fix yourself when the problem is your environment. You set goals. You make commitments. You promise yourself this time will be different. And then you fail. Again. And you blame your willpower, your discipline, your character. But the problem isn't you. The problem is that you're trying to succeed in an environment designed for failure. Willpower is finite, but environmental design is infinite. And most people architect their failure. Here's the reality. Willpower is a limited resource. You have a certain amount of it each day, and every decision that requires self-control depletes it. By the end of the day, your willpower is exhausted. That's when you make the worst decisions. That's when discipline collapses. So if your environment requires constant willpower to make the right choice, you will fail. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when. If you keep junk food in your house, you will eat it. Not because you lack discipline. Because at 8 p.m. when your willpower is depleted and you're stressed and tired, the junk food is there, and eating it requires zero resistance. If your phone is within reach during work, you will check it. Not because you're addicted, because every time you hit a difficult point in your task, your brain seeks relief, and your phone is right there offering instant distraction with zero friction. If toxic relationships have easy access to your time, they will drain it. Not because you're weak, because saying no requires energy. And when you're tired or lonely or bored, accepting the call or the text or the invitation is easier than resisting. Relying on willpower to overcome a poorly designed environment is like swimming against a riptide and wondering why you're exhausted. You're not weak, you're just fighting the wrong battle. You're using a finite resource to fight an infinite problem. And you're losing. That's the key. The solution isn't more willpower, it's better design. You remove the need for willpower by designing an environment where the right choice is easy and the wrong choice is hard. You don't keep junk food in your house. Now eating junk requires driving to the store. That's friction. That's enough resistance that most of the time, you won't do it. You don't keep your phone within reach during work. It's in another room or in a drawer or powered off. Now checking it requires getting up, walking somewhere, unlocking it. That friction is enough to break the automatic reach. You don't give toxic relationships easy access. You don't answer every call. You don't respond immediately to every text. You create space, boundaries, friction. Now engaging with them requires deliberate choice, not automatic response. This is environmental design, making the behaviors you want easy and automatic, making the behaviors you don't want difficult and deliberate. And most people have it backwards. They've designed their environment to make bad choices easy and good choices hard. The gym is 20 minutes away, but the couch is right here. Healthy food requires preparation, but delivery is one tap. Focused work requires setup and intention, but scrolling is always available. Your environment is working against you, and you're expecting willpower to overcome it. It won't. It can't. But here's where it gets worse. Because your physical environment isn't the only thing sabotaging you. The people you spend time with are either raising or lowering your standard invisibly. Human beings are social animals. We unconsciously adopt the norms, habits, and expectations of our immediate social environment. This isn't a choice. It's neurological. We are wired to conform to the group. So if you're surrounded by people who complain, procrastinate, and settle, these behaviors become normalized. Your brain registers them as acceptable, even standard, and your own standards drift downward without conscious awareness. You start complaining more because everyone around you complains. You procrastinate more because everyone around you procrastinates. You settle more because everyone around you settles. Not because you decided to, because your nervous system is absorbing the norms of your environment and adjusting your behavior to match. This is why the most disciplined person in a group of undisciplined people still becomes less disciplined. Why the most ambitious person in a group of complacent people still loses edge. Why the healthiest person in a group of unhealthy people still compromises their standards. The group pulls you toward the average, always, unless you actively resist it. And most people don't even realize it's happening. They think they're making independent choices. They don't see that their choices are being shaped by the invisible pressure of social norms. Your friends eat out every night, so you start eating out more. Your colleagues complain about work constantly, so you start complaining more. Your family makes excuses for everything, so you start making more excuses. The erosion is subtle, gradual, but it's relentless. You have a choice. You can continue operating in an environment that works against you. You can keep relying on willpower to overcome bad design and social pressure. You can keep wondering why discipline feels so hard. Or you can redesign everything, starting now. The protocol demands a complete environmental audit and ruthless redesign. For the next 30 days, you eliminate friction for desired behaviors and create friction for undesired ones. Start with your physical space. Walk through your home, your workspace, your car. Look for anything that makes bad choices easy or good choices hard. Junk food in the pantry? Gone. Either throw it out or give it away. Your house is not a storage unit for temptation. Phone charger by your bed? Move it. Your phone charges in another room now. You don't start or end your day with a screen. Workout clothes buried in a drawer? They're laid out the night before, ready to go. You remove every obstacle between you and the behavior you want. You remove temptations. Completely. Not, I'll just use willpower to resist them. You eliminate them from your environment. You rearrange spaces. Your work area has nothing in it except what's needed for work. No distractions, no entertainment, just tools for execution. You limit access to distractions. Apps get deleted, websites get blocked. The friction between you and distraction increases dramatically. This isn't about willpower. This is about making the right choices automatic and the wrong ones inconvenient. Now the harder part. You distance yourself from people who normalize mediocrity. This doesn't mean you cut everyone off. It means you create boundaries. You limit exposure. You stop giving access to people whose influence moves you away from your goals. The friend who always wants to go out drinking when you're trying to get healthy, you see them less. Not because you hate them, because their norm conflicts with your goal. The colleague who complains constantly and encourages you to do the same, you stop eating lunch with them, not because they're bad people, because their standard is lowering yours. The family member who criticizes your ambition and tells you to be realistic, you stop discussing your goals with them, not because you don't love them, because their worldview is contaminating yours. You don't need their permission to protect your environment. You don't need to explain. You don't need to justify. You simply create distance between yourself and influences that pull you backward. And then you seek out the opposite. You find people whose standards are higher than yours, whose habits you want to adopt, whose norms challenge you to improve. You spend time in environments where discipline is expected, not exceptional, where ambition is normal, not threatening, where high standards are the default because your brain will conform. That's inevitable. The question is what you're conforming to. That's the key. Here's your 8th protocol assignment. Conduct your environmental audit and execute immediate changes. This week, you audit 3 areas. 1. Physical environment. Remove every temptation from your home and workspace. If it makes bad choices easy, it's gone. Rearrange your spaces to support the behaviors you want. Make good choices the default path of least resistance. 2. Digital environment. Delete apps that steal your focus. Block websites that consume your time. Remove notifications that fragment your attention. Your digital space should support execution, not undermine it. 3. Social environment. Identify the 3 people you spend the most time with. Ask yourself honestly, are they raising or lowering my standard? If they're lowering it, you reduce contact. If they're raising it, you increase contact. These changes happen immediately. Not next week. Not when it's convenient. Today. Because every day you operate in an environment designed for failure is another day of unnecessary struggle. Another day of depleting willpower. Fighting battles you should have eliminated through design. It's not about having more discipline. It's about needing less discipline. It's not about resisting temptation. It's about removing temptation from your environment entirely. The strongest people you know aren't using more willpower than you. They're using less because they've designed their environment so well that the right choices are automatic. You can do the same, but it requires that you stop blaming yourself for struggling in an environment that guarantees struggle, and start taking responsibility for the environment itself. Redesign it, ruthlessly, without apology, without waiting for permission from the people whose influence you're limiting. Your environment shapes you, always. The question is whether you're going to shape your environment first. You've learned to act, to work in silence, to embrace discomfort, to finish what you start, and to redesign your environment. Now we address the invisible structure that determines whether any of this becomes permanent.